Welcome back to Drunk Storytime with Quefish. Not drunk yet, but I was out picking up curbside dinner, and I saw I saw the name of a wine that the restaurant was offering, and I was like, how can I not get something called Head to Head? So I have a Head to Head rosé, which I've never had before. So goodness only knows if I'm actually gonna like it. I don't know. Are you supposed to let it breathe if it's a screw cap, or is that just cork? That's not bad. All right. Well, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna pop over on Facebook and let's see what people want me to read. Be right back. So I'm maybe about halfway through. It's got that weird tang. I'm not a huge fan of grape wine, actually, unless it's like that really sweet stuff. But this isn't terrible. So, have two stories I'm gonna do by Ravendiana. They're two little shorts. One of them was actually a gift for me. Sorry, I'm still okay. So anyway, first one is called No Reason. Oh, Crowley, Aziraphale breathed. Is that for me? I plan to get some use out of it too, the demon teased. But yes, Angel, it's for you. He stroked his fingers along it. Aziraphale's eyes followed his fingers. It's so red. Well, really, Angel, what else did you expect? Why now, Crowley? Is there an occasion I've forgotten? No reason, really. Consider it a temptation, if you like. I can't wait to put it to use. I was hoping you'd say that. I have some ideas of my own. I fear I'll wear it out, though. Don't fret about that. These KitchenAid mixers are as well built as they come. Motor will last forever. So apparently Ravendiana was making frosting at the time, and this flew into her head. And I will tell you, I have a KitchenAid stand mixer, and I've had it for 10 years, 11 years. And yeah, that thing lasts forever. It's awesome. It's amazing. Love my stand mixer. I don't get much time or ability. Occasion. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't get much occasion to use it, but maybe soon. So, thank you. That was awesome. Made me giggle. Okay, and the second one is from the Christmas 31 days. And this one is called Something Sour to Balance the Sweet. Day 4, cranberry. I feel like I'm going to burp. But I shan't. Somewhere in Massachusetts, sometime in the mid-1700s. This assignment has to be one of the worst he's ever had, the angel thinks, wading through the flooded bog. Bless this righteous man's berry harvest, they said. Right up your alley, they said. He groused as he sloshed along, feet squelching in his completely inappropriate shoes. He very much doubted that there was any blighting in store for this harvest at all. It was almost done, only a few bogs left. Either that, or he had already succeeded in his task and could leave, knowing the good man. It's one word. Would bring in enough from this to sell for the money to make a comfortable winter. He brightened at that, but no, he was told to be here for the duration. So for the duration, it would be. It wasn't even the spiders that bothered him. True, if any human had been told to be on the lookout for a demonic influence, they might think they had found one in what looked more like an ambulatory mountain of spiders than a celestial being. Oh God, is he covered in spiders? I know. Then again, those people probably also farmed this area, so they would just see some poor sod in a bog covered in spiders, because that's just what life was like here. It wasn't that he minded the spiders in particular. They were her creatures as well, and these meant him no harm. They didn't want to be in this wet bog any more than he did, and were just looking for a ride out, though they did feel decidedly odd in one's ears. No, what he minded was that he was wet and cold and purple. Every stitch of clothing he'd come in was now vibrantly dyed by the bright berries. The farmer thought him quite clever to get his clothing dyed for free by his work. Well, if people thought it was such a lovely color, he'd give it to them. He belonged in white and cream, with hints of blue or some natty tartan, not this garish color. For that matter, he belonged in his bookshop, with a good book, a warm fire, and a nice cup of tea, not in this cold, wet bog surrounded by berries too tart to possibly be good eating, and covered in spiders. He was working himself into a fine sulk when he felt something brush his leg. It was cold and slippery and long enough to ripple the water around him. Any human who was out here would probably have been frightened to death. Aziraphale, however, knew three things that they did not. That it was already far too cold for the deadly southern water snakes to be found this far north. That there were no snakes in this area remotely as large as what was under the water and floating fruit, and that if there was any serpent trying to give him a fright in a damp and inconvenient assignment, it would undoubtedly be one particular serpent. With a speed his form and countenance gave little hint to, he turned and bent into the water, arms wide, and closing around a body nearly the size of his own torso, and hauling as much as he could out of the water. Great black scales gleamed in the moonlight, the red belly blending with the red berries. The strong body writhed in his arms before the great head came out of the water and turned a baleful yellow glare on him. "You're no fun tonight, Angel," the serpent said in a manner only they could hear. "You didn't even jump or squeak or anything." It is difficult to say how a face with so few moving parts can pout, yet somehow the great snake was doing just that. "I am no fun because I am having no fun, Crowley. I am wet and cold and very, very far from the nearest decent pastry shop." Aziraphale's pout was a good deal easier to understand, and even more emphatic. "Are you the reason I've been traipsing through these bogs for over a week?" The head wove back and forth, in what could pass for a shrug when you have no shoulders. "I've been about, mostly stirring political pots, though. Only came out here because I noticed you." "Well, if you aren't up to anything, what have I been guarding these dreadful sour bogberries from?" "Beats me. Maybe it was your lot's idea of a joke? I've never understood what passes for humor up there." The angel glared at the demon, mostly because he was probably right. "Oh, do try talking with a human face," he snapped. just so he could complain about something. Sure thing, Angel, Crowley agreed amiably. Suddenly, instead of having his arms wrapped around some innocuous length of snake, Aziraphale found his arms full of a man-shaped demon. Man-shaped, very close, and very, very naked. Hello, Aziraphale, Crowley purred down at him. This time he did squeak, and jump backwards, landing on his rump in the bog, his arachnid contingent swarming his head as the only spot above water. Crowley was cackling madly. Oh, Angel, love what you've done with your hair. Aziraphale couldn't even glare properly through the spiders, much less speak, and with a snap, he set them all safely on dry land. Why didn't you do that to begin with? His glare now free from constraints, he leveled it at the demon. You did that on purpose, he accused. Crowley tried to stop laughing, with negligible success. Well, yes, obviously. I did get you to jump and squeak, though, he said through his laughter. Oh, come on, it was just a bit of fun. He waded over and offered his hand to help the angel up. Put some clothes on first, Aziraphale objected. You know anything I put on right now won't really be real, right? What's the use of soggy fabric? Crowley countered. Besides, even if there were anything to see at the moment, which there isn't, by the way, it would all be sub-cranberry. It's the principle of the thing, Aziraphale insisted. Crowley knew that once the principle of things got involved, he was unlikely to make any headway. He waved a hand vaguely upwards and was dressed in the simple homespun clothing most men wore in the region, dyed a dark berry red. Once he was dressed, Aziraphale took the offered hand and was pulled to his feet. By the time Crowley had stopped pulling, they were out of the bog and in a neat one-room cabin with a fire blazing in the hearth, and Aziraphale's clothes were clean and dry. But were they white again, or were they still purple? Better, Angel? Crowley asked, casually swinging the kettle around on its pole till it was over the fire. Immensely. That was well done. He avoided the thanks that were so likely to put the demons back up. Dry and warming up, his manners and good mood were already returning. Only fair since I got you all wet, Crowley answered. Aziraphale chose to ignore the double entendre. They really had you guarding and blessing a berry bog? Whatever for? I'm sure I don't know. The farmer is a good man, and he's had a bad few years. He deserves some help, but I think sending me for the entire harvest was rather too much. They said I'd enjoy it because it was berries. He made a face. Crowley tried again not to laugh, with more success this time. You tried eating one, didn't you? They were berries. How was I to know how sour they were? How does anyone make their living growing such things? Who is eating them? Just about everybody around here, Crowley answers. No, honestly, they mix them with everything. Mix the juice with apple juice, dry them, put them in a cake, boil them down in sugar and spices. They're really quite good. Aziraphale was giving him a dubious look. See, the problem is you just went and ate one all on its own. They don't work like that. They work best when they're paired with an opposite. They need something sweet to bring out their full flavor, and the sourness balances the sweet, keeps it from being cloying. That does sound reasonable, he allowed. Crowley smiled. Look, how about you spend the rest of this harvest keeping me pinned down in this nice warm cabin, and I'll make you some of the local favorites. Keep both of us out of the bog, and you can say you did your job. That sounds lovely, my dear. Aziraphale smiled, and meant it for the first time all week. I do believe the kettle is ready. Spiders! That was cute. Spiders! Why didn't he just snap them to begin with? that was... Shit, what was the first one called? I don't remember. No reason. I knew it was 2 words. I knew there were small words. Didn't know what they were. So, No Reason and Something Sour to Balance the Sweet by ravendiana. So, there's 2 for the price of 1. Thank you for joining me, and I will probably be back in just a few minutes for more.